Has David Moyes reincarnated Fellaini with Tomas Soucek, the box-to-box target man, and the statistics behind the theory? For cheap good quality football jerseys, go over to www.jerseyfever.com, a link will be left in the description, and use code atlantisfootball for 5% off. So West Ham currently sit in 5th place in the Premier League, which is strange. They're managed by David Moyes, which isn't really that strange, but they have scored more goals this season than Arsenal and Everton, which is very strange. They've also looked at Jesse Lingard's last 2 seasons and thought, yeah, we'll have him, which is strange. And Lingard on his debut actually looked like the player that we saw Millie rocking at the Emirates, scoring 2 goals, which is also strange. However, all of these are not as strange as the strange rise of a man named Tomas Soucek. When Soucek was signed from Slavia Prague on loan in January 2020, not much was known about him. He seemed like your typical tall, industrious ball-winning central midfielder, there to break up the play and give the ball to the more creative players and win a few headers whilst he's out there on the pitch. However, if you actually take 5 seconds to bing Soucek's stats at Slavia Prague prior to his move to the London Stadium, you'll see that he was actually quite prolific. In the 2018-19 season, he scored 13 goals in 34 games, and in 2019-2020, he scored 8 goals in 17 games, which most strikers would see as a decent goal-scoring return. But he's not going to be able to sustain this in the Premier League though. After all, the experts do tell us that the Premier League is just far too quick for a foreign player's brain to comprehend. However, they'd be very wrong. Every fucking time I watch West Ham play, he scores. Every time I look to see the result of one of their games, his name is on the score sheet with a ball next to it. At first, I thought it must be one big mistake, so as a true journalist would, I phoned up Sky Sports to check and got put on hold for 2 hours, but then something came to my mind. Maybe Soucek was actually scoring these goals after all, and West Ham maybe, just maybe, were no longer shit. It's still too early to confirm the last part, but Soucek is indeed scoring far too frequently for a tall, awkward defensive midfielder. And who else was a tall, awkward midfielder that thrived under Moyes? So in order to investigate further, I'm going to analyse Soucek's style of play and his best attributes, look at him statistically, not just from a goal-scoring point of view, and then compare him to one of the best afros of all time, MAUROANE Fellaini. Describing the type of player that Soucek is, I'd say that he's a ball winner, box-to-box central midfielder whose job it is to win possession and move the ball on. He's very astute at doing this. He has the ability to read a pass into an advanced midfielder between the lines, shuffling over and then using his long legs to make a well-timed standing tackle to win the ball back. This ability can be seen as this season he has completed 2 tackles per 90, the 24th most of any central midfielder in the league. His reading of the game is also impressive as well, knowing when to shift over to cut off a passing lane in order to intercept a forward pass, which can be seen as he completes 1.4 interceptions per 90, the 22nd most of any central midfielder. I don't think he's as good as Rice in this department, as he does lack the athleticism and mobility to break up quick counter-attacks as Rice does. In terms of Soucek's on-the-ball ability, he's nothing special. He doesn't have great vision or passing ability, so it isn't creative at all really, as seen with him completing just 0.4 key passes per 90, the 6th least of any central midfielder in the whole league, and he doesn't have the dribbling ability to progress the play forward either, as he only completes 0.2 dribbles per 90. So he isn't a deep lying or advanced playmaker, he isn't top level in terms of his ball winning ability either, however he does have a pretty incredible ability in the box for a central midfielder, which is where the comparisons to Fellaini are drawn. I mentioned Soucek being a type of ball winning central midfielder, however in possession he's a bit more of an enigma, and when we look at his attacking statistics we can see why. He doesn't offer much in terms of chance creation as I've said, but in terms of goal scoring he's up there with some of the best in the league. He has a non-penalty XG rate of 0.27 per 90, the 26th most out of every player in the Premier League, close to Aubameyang's rate of 0.28 per 90, and higher than Bruno Fernandes's 0.26 per 90, and Grealish's 0.25 per 90, meaning that he's getting better quality chances than some of the best attackers in the league. This is down to Moyes' side putting in crosses from deep and allowing Soucek to roam forward into the final third, as I will explain in a minute, but he's also finishing these chances at a very impressive rate. By his non-penalty XG, Soucek is expected to have scored 6 goals this season but has scored 8 non-penalty goals, meaning that he has scored 2 more goals than would have been expected from the quality of chances that he is receiving, showcasing his finishing ability. And in terms of non-penalty goals, Soucek is the league's joint 7th highest goal scorer with 8, alongside Marcus Rashford. You would expect a player with limited technical ability in terms of passing and dribbling like Soucek to be sitting behind the play, as Rice is doing here. However, as you can see, he's positioned between the lines as though he's an attacking midfielder. What this means is that when West Ham do look to put a deep cross into the box, as they often do, Soucek is between the lines, and therefore he's not being statically marked by the centre backs as he would if he was a centre forward, or by the central midfielders ahead of him, and therefore, as happens here when West Ham win the second ball around the box, Soucek is often moving into the box in space, and here is an example. Benrahma finds Soucek, and Soucek is an excellent shooter in the box, so he's able to strike the ball first time, low and hard past the keeper. If you enjoyed this video, check out some of my other West Ham videos such as my analysis of Saeed Benrahma, and my video looking at how West Ham could be transformed by a red ball takeover. Those videos will be linked in the description below and in the eye above. We also see here against Palace from a set piece that he has the ability to control the ball and instinctively get a shot away early. This set of skills in terms of his movement ahead of play, they to rival into the box, control in the box and shooting ability are the exact type of attributes that made Frank Lampard one of the most prolific goal-scoring midfielders in football history. We also see here against Palace that the ball is in a wide position on the flank, but Soucek has taken up a central position in the box as though he's a centre forward. The ball gets worked over the top of the back line into Antonio, and Soucek has the ability to time his run into the space perfectly as though he's a centre forward, and his power and aerial ability allows him to win the header from close range and put the ball into the back of the net. So how exactly does Soucek compare to MAUROANE Fellaini? Well, first let's look at Fellaini statistically. His best goal scoring season under Moyes was in 2012-2013 when he scored 11 goals, and in the previous season in 2011-2012 he scored 3 goals. However, Fellaini did have a lot of the same characteristics as Soucek. Like the Czech in Moyes' system, Fellaini would be given the freedom to push ahead of the ball in the attack, floating between the lines, so that when the ball went out wide and was crossed in early, he could make a run onto the ball and then either finish with a quick shot or usually with his head. However, Fellaini and Soucek do differ in some ways. Unlike Soucek, Fellaini was deployed further forward, ahead of a double pivot in behind a centre forward in Moyes' 4-4-1-1 shape. Fellaini was also far better at controlling long passes with his chest, bringing the ball down and then bringing the midfield into play. I distinctly remember a game on the opening day of the 2012-2013 season against Manchester United, when Fellaini was exceptional at floating between the lines of the United system, and because he wasn't in the forward or midfield line, it was hard for United players to pick him up without being drawn out of position. Soucek isn't really deployed like this. He starts deep in a double pivot and moves forward into the same positions that Fellaini was often occupying in the final third. In this sense, Soucek is far more of a box-to-box midfielder like a Frank Lampard, and Fellaini was more of a second striker. In the box, they are both dominant aerially, and even though Soucek doesn't have the chest control that was a massive part of Fellaini's game, I do think he is technically better in the box, having better control in tight areas and being the better striker of the ball when it arrives to his feet, which does give him a massive advantage in terms of goal scoring when compared to Fellaini. So overall, I do think the closest player to Soucek in recent football history is Fellaini. However, Soucek is much more of a deeper lying midfielder out of possession, being a better defensive player in my opinion. Fellaini was used far more as a target man in terms of the build-up play as well. However, Soucek's likeness to a target man is when the ball is crossed into the box, as like Fellaini, he is given the freedom to float in positions that centre forwards would usually take up, which is why he's able to get so many chances. It is hard to fully describe Soucek's role. He is kind of a target man box-to-box midfielder, which is a mouthful, so if someone can come up with a better term, let me know in the comments below. So to answer the question, has Moyes reincarnated Fellaini into Soucek? Well, I can't be fully sure at the moment, so I'll have to investigate further throughout the season, but if he has, there's a good argument to say that he has found a Fellaini upgrade, and maybe that's because he sprinkled a little bit of Lampard into that Czech potion. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that video, remember to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. Check out some of my other videos linked in the description, as well as the West Ham videos linked down there as well, and follow me on my other social media accounts for more content as well.